talking directly to you. This is the 117th episode. Welcome to the year of the history books, dude. I am AJ. I'm joined by Parker. We weren't here last week, but we're here now.
That's right.
How have you been over this last week, people?
Yeah.
I'm not asking you yet. We gotta get to the housekeeping first.
So
you can support this channel and this house that we're trying to keep in the year 2020 by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour, twitch.tv/fanatixfour, giving us $4.99. What you get for that? You get exclusive emotes, you get loyalty badges, you get gaming time with us, you get free Switch keys for time to time, and you get access to our supporters only Discord. You can talk about the world, dude, and video games, and you want to play Smash Brothers? It's a great old time. Hit me up. You know, I'll fight you. I promise. You can also join our Discord for free by clicking the link in the description and saying hi to Duncan, or Cowboy, or Grimhane, or Justin. You know, good old fun time. Now, how you doing, Parker? You playing any video games?
I am. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, man, I'm doing all right. We took a week off last week. That was, I think wise, all things considered. So
yes.
That was good. But yeah, man, doing all right. Video games. A bunch. Played, because last week Clubhouse games came out.
Yes.
So I played that. Right? That was last week?
Yes.
You okay?
Yes.
The 5th? Yeah.
It was on Friday. Okay.
Yeah. So I played some of that.
That's how you know this has been a doozy of a year, man.
It's good. I think it's exactly what I intended it to be, and wanted it to be. So that's great. I mostly played it just by myself, which is mostly what I was intending for, just to have it for games like, pretty much like, here's the kinds of games that I would download on my phone to have as like a background app kind of thing. But the phone versions always have janky ads and stuff. And it's all like, it's hard to get like the good version of Solitaire without paying for it or whatever. And this way I've got 51 of those games. So yeah, I did some of that. Some of the games are like, once you figure it out, you could beat even like the hardest difficulty computer super easy, and some of them aren't that way. And like, I suck at Nine Men's Morris, but like that made me play it a whole lot of times.
I didn't even touch. I think I played maybe 10 games altogether, and some of them I just played on stream with Bob, like the Hare and Hounds.
Oh man, yeah.
That game's stupid. If you're not the Hare, that game is very dumb. I
played that with so Mitch came over last night. We're starting to kind of socialize here and there. Mitch came over and we played multiplayer for the first time that I played multiplayer of that game. And his last name's Rabbit, so we had to play the Hare and the Hounds because, you know,
we kind of did the same thing. I was like, you got to be a wolf, dude.
Oh man, you're so right. So Mitch needs to play against Bob, and that would be the true.
Yeah, that would be the true face-off.
But yeah, we got that one. Seemed like, I think you need to come up with some good strats to be the Hare, maybe even, because both times we got into a point where it's like, okay, we're just going to go back and forth until you run out of moves.
Literally every single game we did, the Hare won. The Hare is
really?
Broken.
Oh,
the Hare is broken.
I won as the Hounds every time. So maybe I'm just super good. But yeah, the Hare is broken as far as how it can move, but maybe Mitch just sucks. So
that's possible. It's possible.
I think he was playing like really defensively, and that was bad.
Because the first game we did, when I was the first game I had freaking wrecked Bob, and then he wrecked me, and then I was like, no, I want to do this again. I want to figure this out.
Yeah.
And then I got the idea of it, but then I like overestimated how much thought you need to put in. So then I ended up screwing myself, because really it seems that you need to more or less stay in the same formation to like corner the Hare. And I was like, oh, no, I want to try to like cut him off here. And it's like, no, go through here. And it's like, this game's dumb. Like, it's a stupid game. Never playing it again.
Yeah.
And then freaking bowling is also dumb.
I haven't tried bowling yet.
Bowling is like, on touch controls, it's almost too consistent, and that makes it easy.
Oh, interesting.
With motion, it's like not. So like,
Okay.
there would be times where like I'll like freaking throw the ball right down the middle, and sometimes it's like, and with the same strength more or less, and sometimes it'll be a strike. Other times it'll split it right down the middle and take out 4 pins or whatever, right? Like, so okay,
Yeah.
but for touch, it's easy. It's very easy to beat it like that. But
it seems
solidarity with Bob, I was like, no, I'm not going to use touch because you.
It seems to me like overall that the target demographic for this is like, or the best situations or whatever is if you're going to be playing like, yeah, with family who doesn't really like, like we play kinds of stuff. And also like you feel fine jumping around games a decent amount, because it seems like not a lot of like the bowling or whatever. Well, I didn't try the bowling, but like battle tanks or whatever.
Darts is fun. We had
darts is fun. Yes. But a lot of them don't seem like they have, like the ones that could have more depth don't feel like they have a ton more depth, but the ones that just couldn't, like solitaire is just solitaire. It's like the perfect version of solitaire, So I feel like either that or like my situation where I'm mostly going to be playing them by myself anyway. But if it's like, I'm going to play this one to play with this one person all the time, probably get stale pretty quick, I would guess. Unless you guys really like Texas Hold'em and don't want to get cards out or something like that.
So I was playing this in like Discord with some people, and I was basically saying like, this isn't the type of game that you're like, I'm going to play 51 worldwide classics. Like, let's go get together and play. It's like, no, let's play freaking chess. Let's play last card or whatever. You're not like playing the entire collection. It just doesn't make sense.
And especially it's going to be a slow burn of a game too. Like as far as like racking up hours or whatever of playing it, it's going to be one that I know like right now, I don't ironically need it right now because I've got Xenoblade for like even because like while I'm watching shows, I like to have something that I could be playing if I want. And Ni no Kuni was kind of a pain to be playing because it just like I don't know, there was a lot of cutscenes. Xenoblade also has a lot of cutscenes. But the way like grinding in Xenoblade's really easy and like I can just do it and not pay attention too much, and then that works out well. But that's the thing that I'd probably be using this for as well for the most part. So I don't know, we'll see how it pans out, but it's so far it's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, so it's what I wanted. It's still
two thumbs up.
People like when we're streaming, because that's just the nature of it, which I mean we'll get to a version of that later. But like people are like, so you guys don't like this game? It's like, because you're complaining about X, Y, and Z. And it's like, yeah, but that's like the nature of streaming, kind of. It's like you point out that and you like make a joke out of it. There's games within it that we like, but a lot of the games that we play, we just so happen to not like. It doesn't mean that we don't like the game altogether. It's 51 games, dude, So.
Yeah, I think probably like you'll find a couple. I mean, if you're interested in any of them at all, I think you'll find a couple that's like, that's the one. Like I like playing that. Like I like playing Yahtzee in it because it's like there's not an easy, difficult, hard, impossible bot AI, whatever. It's just kind of random. Like it's going to do the best it can, but it's random anyway. So like, you can't optimize it to be like, well, I figure out the best strategy. Whereas you probably like if tic-tac-toe were on there, one time I mathed out all of tic-tac-toe to where like, at this point
boxes is kind of tic-tac.
No, it is. Yeah. And I got to the point where like, I figured out how, if I do
also like, Connect 4 is kind of,
that one I'm not quite as good at Connect 4. It took me, I feel like I really lucked out on winning against the impossible bot for that one, but I'll try it again. We'll find out. So, but that's that game in any case. I've been playing some other stuff, but you go now and then I'll talk after
I've been playing, did I play? I played Smash Brothers 51.
You don't say.
Yeah, I know. Did I have any new developments in Smash Brothers? Let's see. I don't think so. I think I've just been freaking wrecking people as Pokemon trainer. Dude. I think that's just about it.
Nice.
I jumped into Pokemon.
Okay.
People on that. And I found my shiny Applin, dude, for the meme. I finally did it. And it wasn't even a thing that was like, it's not like, because when I tweeted out, Grimhagen was like, it took so long. And I was like, I mean, it did, like, as far as like actual days that passed, but not really, because it's like
because you stopped for a really long time.
Yeah, it probably took me like 4 or 5 sessions of like turning the game on, like grinding out eggs for like half an hour at a time. I'm a very impatient person, so I'm not sitting here for 5 hours at a time. Freaking egg number 3,000. No, I'm like, all right, it's been 45 minutes. I'm done playing this game for the week. Yep. And then I come back and then whatever. So like, I just randomly, I don't even remember what I was doing. I was probably waiting for my video to export or something. And then I got the shiny Applin, and I was like, oh shoot,
there it is.
And it always ends up being like, because I'll play very intentionally, where it's like, I'm going to get 5 eggs from this lady, and I'm going to hatch these 5 eggs, and I'm done. Like, I'm turning it off. So it always happens to be like the last egg that I got from the egg, like from the that hatches. And I'm like, all right, that was that. And then I turn the game off.
Nice.
So
yep,
there's that.
That is.
I was battling people in that too.
Was that just like from the DLC announcements and stuff? You got hyped for it again, so want to jump back in because of that? Or
no, I was talking to somebody. They were asking me how many shinies I had, and I was like, I have like 6 or something like that. And then that reminded me, and I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to get the shiny Applin, and then I gave it a shot, and I got it, and then I was done. Because I was also taught, like, in that conversation, it was like, this is how I got the shinies I got. And the first shiny was very lucky because it took me like 8 eggs. Like, the shiny Lapras was easy. And then I got another shiny Corviknight just by running into it, like complete happenstance, and had to it was like, I don't know, like 5 o'clock in the morning, so I'm like freaking half asleep, and I'm like, is this even a shiny? And like, I like looked it up on Bulbapedia, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the shiny one, and
just
like,
barely.
yeah. So I caught that, and then it just went downhill from there. From there, I was like, all right, this one took me a full box, and Applin probably took me like 5 boxes or something like that.
Gross. Yep. Man, yeah. Other stuff. So the other thing I've been playing is Xenoblade, like I mentioned. So yeah, I have thoughts on said game. It's good. I like it. I have thoughts in like multiple different categories. Number one, I played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That was my first Xenoblade game. So in my mind, I keep comparing things to that.
Did you beat Xenoblade Chronicles 2?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I played it for like 15 hours, which is nothing. Oh wait, did you? Okay, so we gotta freaking, while we're on the Pokemon topic.
Okay.
Since we didn't talk about the DLC or nothing like that, did you watch?
I put it in the. I didn't watch the Wolf Den live from last week yet.
Oh, it's in the Pokemon's on here.
Yeah, I put it in.
Okay, we'll get to it. Continue with your Xenoblade.
So Xenoblade, yeah. Played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, beat it back in the day, around a couple months after it came out. I think I got it for Christmas 2017 and then beat it following that. And I really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot. There were things about it. Like I saw Max posting some stuff about like things that he did or didn't like from that, and like some of the super anime stuff, like any of the like Mithra kind of things where it's the more weeby stuff where, more adult content or whatever. It was like, that kind of stuff was like lots of eye rolling from all that. And that one blade that was like was pretty much just boobs. And that was like
one.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? Like at least 5 of them? I think all but maybe one of the female blades that I've seen just boobs the character.
Yeah, so that stuff I was like, okay, guys, that's enough of that now. But the blade system was kind of having to find the blades and all that kind of stuff. But as a whole, I think the story for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was more kind of enticing or whatever, at least compared to where I am so far. I'm at the Aerith Sea in the tomb, for anybody who knows.
Is that the right thing? Because I know you like.
Oh yeah, I said the wrong thing. Eternal Lake. Eternal Lake isn't a thing in anything. So
you just made it up.
I did, and that's like that sounds pretty cool. So that could.
Wait, you said Eterna?
Yeah,
I think Eterna City is a Pokemon thing.
I mean,
town or something like that.
But it's not a lake. They got to get a lake there.
And they like reused that song. It was like they used it in like freaking Pokemon XD and Gale of Darkness, and then it's also like there's like a variation of that song in like Gen 3 or 4.
A bunch of lazy
Gen 4, and I was like, this is like it wasn't even a thing of like I immediately knew. I just heard this song. I was like, where did I hear this? song. Like I knew it was another Pokemon game, but which one is it? And then it turns out it was two of them that don't really matter. Fight me. Darkness and Coliseum are stupid, and they're not good Pokemon games.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that stuff. It's yeah, I think overall I'm enjoying the experience, but the one thing that I think I realized is like I feel a lot of pressure to finish it at a certain pace, and I don't like that because, and I think it's because of being involved in, you know, like making content on it and stuff. Yes, that.
You're going to make a video about it?
No, not even that. Like it's.
Who cares?
I have no clue why I care, but it's like as opposed to like Divinity Original Sin or whatever. It was like people already played that back in the day. I can just play it at whatever pace. But I think knowing that other peers of mine or whatever are like, oh, I just finished it, I'm almost done, that kind of thing, makes me feel like I need to like keep up with it.
Also, most of these people that you're talking about played the original game, so
yeah,
like,
right.
Who cares what they're doing at this point? You know, like just play a game. Yeah, you want to play it.
So I need to figure out how to switch my mental state or whatever to be better about.
Just tell yourself they're already ahead of me, and I'll never get ahead of them.
Yeah, because that was the thing for sure with both Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Octopath Traveler a little bit, where Mitch was also playing those. And he just like books it to the end of games. And so, yeah, I'm sure I've said this on the podcast before, but I remember sometimes where he would be like, well, what do you think of chapter 8 or whatever? And he was already on chapter 9. And so I'd tell him my theories and he'd be like, interesting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I'm like, well, we can't like be talking about it. And he's like, I'll try to put myself in the frame of reference if I were still there.
If I didn't know that Bobby dies on chapter 9.
Yeah, right. The Bob Omb from Paper Mart. Just kidding.
Oh yeah, that's spoilers.
So yeah, all in all, I'm enjoying the game. I think just the fact that I have such a backlog too, I feel like I'm rushing through it, but at the same time, I'm enjoying the stuff, the game itself. So
just live and let live, dude. Be like me. Just don't care. You know, just play the game as you play it, and if you don't, you don't. You know what I'm saying? Dude?
This is very true. Yeah. So, but we'll see. It's a good game. So there's that. If anybody's like, man, I love some JRPG type games, there it is. That's the end of my review. I did it.
There it is.
Success.
10 out of 10. Parker Deal, fanatixfour.com.
I mean, all things considered, that's probably all the games that I'm playing right now. Ashley's playing some more Animal Crossing, and I haven't shown back up in Animal Crossing. I forgot
Animal Crossing existed. Did I tell you about my random high turnip price?
No.
So I don't know what week this happened in because this is all one long day.
Maybe you did. Where Bob was on stream?
Yes, that one.
Okay, yeah. You mentioned that last podcast.
All right, cool. There we go. It all bleeds together at this point.
I know. It does.
But yeah, other than that, haven't played Animal Crossing.
Yep.
At all. And it's partially because I like feel bad, but also because like I'm still like overwhelmed by the stuff that I want to do and the amount of effort it will take. And I'm like,
I mean, I'm kind of the opposite where I feel like there's like little projects that I probably would like to do. So I could probably pop in one day, spend a significant amount of time and be like, that section there that's kind of ugly, that doesn't have anything going on, going to turn it into this, and this section over there going to turn into that. But besides that, I feel like most of the map is like the way that I want it anyway, roughly.
I need to I need to industrialize, dude. I need to make my whole freaking central part of my map a city, and that's too much.
That is, it's a big. Ashley did she's been saying that she's kind of getting bored with it, but like wants to, like, will turn on her Switch and be like, I want to play it, but again, is kind of getting bored. And I told her, A, that's okay. B,
yeah, it's like at this point she has like what 150 plus hours in this game,
like 250.
Well, there you go. So, you got your worth.
Yeah, it is funny because like there's a lot of things that she hasn't done very much terraforming at all, but like she just doesn't really care about that. But then there's other things that she'll do, like Raymond who's like one of the most like people
He's
are
like
trading.
The cat man.
Yeah, and like people are like really trying to get Raymond on their island. He asked her if he could leave at some point, and she's like, I really like Raymond, but I'm bored, so yeah, sure, why not? Just so she could get somebody new. So there it is.
Rip, dude.
That's Animal Crossing. But you know what? We don't have to be looking backwards at all these games. We can be looking forwards at Paper Mario coming out July 17th on the Nintendo Switch.
Yep, sure is, dude.
Yeah, man, we got a lot more information today randomly. It's funny because like it was kind of when I first woke up or first like got online or something, this trailer had gone up, but I didn't see how recently it had gone up. And I was like, why isn't anybody talking about this? But it had gone up like 3 minutes before that. Exactly. And I was like, oh, okay, that's why.
People are still currently watching it.
Exactly. So, I mean, we won't go, I don't think it's worth it to go through like all the individual details.
Yeah.
Because there's other places that do that better anyway. But like, I don't know, just your thoughts. Now, excuse me, I just drank some fizzy water. Having seen the most recent stuff, your excitement level, has it changed?
Nah, I'm still down. I am kind of like meh on like, they kind of went on the complete opposite end of like what I would have wanted them to do with how the the characters in this game, because like the idea that I had was like using more like Mario characters in a different way, and they just kind of like your companions just like, I'm a Bob-omb,
yeah,
I'm a Toad, like this, and so it's like it doesn't have the charm of like the other games where it's like, this is a female Goomba, you've literally never seen this before, or like this chubby ghost lady, or like like even the like more variations that they've had on more straightforward Mario characters like Koopa Troopas or whatever, right? Like where he's just wearing street clothes, like that sort of thing. A Bob-omb without a fuse is like, well, all right.
Yeah, I mean his name is Bobby, so like that's a something. No, but I feel you. I wonder what their logic is. My only guess as to what the logic is like to introduce people like, I don't know, kids or whatever to these characters.
It's
but at the same time,
Tony Stark in Spider-Man Homecoming. That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's right. Mario games. You don't know Paper Mario though, so we'll make Paper Mario more like a Mario game.
Yeah.
At least in like not aesthetics, but like the characters and the story and the lore and all that.
But it is a shame though, because like at this point I just always use my godson as a reference, but like he's 7 now, and last year he played Super Mario RPG with his dad for the first time, and like he's obsessed with Mario in general, but like studied up on all these characters, Mallow and Gino and all that kind of stuff, and they're one-off characters that aren't in anything else. And it's not like he, even as a 6-year-old, them being something that's not in the rest of the universe, it's not like it detracts for him. I feel like it's additive. Yeah. So if that is their thought, that kind of a thing where it's like, we don't want to confuse people too much by adding in too many new players or whatever. Like, I don't think that's really a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't understand that part of it, but I do, from what we've seen, it does still look like it has like the Paper Mario charm, like the characters are still going to be like interesting, but it's just kind of disappointing that they're not like more almost just aesthetically interesting. Like that's really the long and short of it, is because, okay, dude, you're just a Bob-omb, like.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like he'll have personality, like you said. I mean, that goes within the writing and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, from face value, he could be staying next to pretty much any other Bob-omb, and I guess the fuse thing is the only difference, sounds like. Yeah. So, I mean, the Professor Toad, he's a something.
Yeah, and he's kind of like a Captain Toad sort of deal.
Right. So. We do have, I guess, Ollie and Olivia. Yeah. So that's some new characters. That's nice. Yeah. I don't know if even the Color Splash or whatever had even that many new characters.
No, not really.
It's pretty sad. So it looks cool. I'm pretty excited about it. Watching the trailer, I was like, I'm down. People have mentioned the fact that, well, Duncan, I was talking to him because he made a video about it like a month or so ago. And then, so I was like, yeah, so Duncan, is this looking like now the Paper Mario game that you would want? And he was like, for the most part, yeah, it seems like there's no experience and level up system kind of thing from what we've seen, which I hadn't picked up on, but other people definitely did as well. And that seems to be the case. But I think the question is just from the things I've heard about Color Splash and all that is, does it matter in the sense that, is it going to be worth fighting enemies at all? Because that is kind of annoying when it's like they're chucking a bunch of enemies at you, but I literally don't get anything out of these enemy encounters that I wouldn't get by just not having them. Like,
I mean, I would assume that it would probably be through like drops and stuff like that. More action gamey, less RPG-esque in that regard. But I do see a lot of people kind of complaining about like not necessarily the XP side of it, but just the fact that the battle system isn't exactly like the old games are. And I don't know, like, because I get why Nintendo would want to do that. Like, it doesn't make sense for them, for what their goals are, to just rehash what they did before, especially since they made the decision to move past it in the past. So like they're kind of throwing everybody a bone, but they're like, hey, we still want to like innovate on this in some way within this franchise. And I think that they went about it in a smart way, in my opinion. I
think the battle system looks cool.
Same. And that's probably the thing that sustained my hype overall, because like if the battle system was then I'd probably be like, I don't really care.
And we saw like boss battles and stuff, and those look interesting too. Like it's another twist on top, because I can imagine.
And that was another thing that people were like complaining about, kind of on the same note as what I said about like the supporting characters and stuff like that, where it's like, it's just a stapler or whatever, right? I think that makes sense in this world, like, so I'm fine with it. It would probably be like better if they were like controlled by some like freaking other like distinct character, wizard, origami person.
Right.
But
I do think it does look kind of silly, because like you always probably want some kind of personification of something, or that's, what's the whatever, doesn't matter. There's a word that's more fancy than that.
Anamorphic, but they're not animals.
In any case, so it is weird just seeing like a bunch of crayons and be like, those crayons are bad, because like they don't necessarily seem bad, but at the same time, it's at least more different than Koopa Kids or something like that, so that's nice.
Giant baby Bowser.
And their powers seem to obviously reflect that, which is cool. What was I going to say? I think just in general, the boss fights having different mechanics are cool, partly because I wonder if the regular enemy encounters that we get, were just like if you stumble on a Goomba and it's like 12 Goombas or whatever on the rings, I wonder if there's preset patterns that those would end up being
if it's like 7 Goombas, different patterns. Goombas are always going to be on like 2 and 7,
right? And, exactly. And if so, that could get pretty tough. Or at some point, you could figure out
this is
the optimal kind of way to go.
The green iteration of the color chart.
So hard to say with that. I know there's been some games where that's a pain. Or not a pain, but it's like kind of boring, where it's like, well, I know how to deal with this. But there's other games where it's like that's rewarding, because you feel like you've learned the optimal
I learned the language.
So I don't know. It could go either way with that. That's something, even with Xenoblade right now, like when I start a battle, I pretty much do the same couple arts in a row every time, just to like, I know it's a good 1, 2, 3 punch kind of thing. So can be rewarding. We'll see. That is it. But that's pretty much my thoughts on Paper Mario. I'm excited about it. It's a little over a month away,
which is still crazy. It still makes no sense, but hey, whatever.
It's true. But more than a month away is Gods and Monsters, which got leaked on well, also a side note, apparently Ubisoft said they were going to be giving a different name to that at some point. So that'll be interesting. I don't know what that'll be, but I'm trying to find where it says that in this article. I don't think it says in this article. I saw it somewhere else, but they mentioned that they were going to be giving it a different name somewhere. So we'll see that. I do wonder if it's going to be a very different name. That feels like that kind of hurts the branding some.
It's going to be Monsters and Gods.
And if it's like Gods and Monsters, Fates Unite or whatever.
Nah, that's the sequel, dude.
Oh, I should have known. I'm so dumb.
You can't do a subtitle in the first game ever. That's why the first soccer game is soccer. And the first tennis game is tennis.
How dumb of me to have assumed.
Don't
But yeah, we saw
again.
some leaked game footage that was on Stadia for a little while. I don't know how exactly this happened, but it did. So there it is.
I saw somebody post about this, and I saw a couple of people post about this, but somebody was like, "How does this happen if Stadia's all run on servers?" I'm like, that makes it even more likely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like, what do you mean? Like, so
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, because it makes it harder for somebody to data mine something that just isn't there. But if something gets dropped onto the server, then it's just gonna be there or whatever.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I don't know. I looked at here. It looks like I tried to screen share, but it wasn't letting me screen share. It said host disabled attendee screen sharing. So you know what?
Oh,
way to go,
goodness. Security.
It's okay. It doesn't matter that much.
Unmute themselves. Chat. Share screen. There it is. There you go.
Look at that. Beautiful.
For the record, I didn't disable anything. I had to apparently enable it because Zoom is dumb.
Zoom is dumb. So here's the probably terrible looking footage from Twitter stuff.
There it is.
Whoa, hey, what's going on there? That's not what I wanted.
Oof.
Oh, whatever. You can see it in a little bit. We'll talk about it as it's going. But yeah, it looks like
Breath of the Wild.
Very Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it just looks like straight up Breath of the Wild. If they made a Kid Icarus Breath of the Wild game, this would be it.
It is like him. The combat itself does seem more cartoon-esque. You know what I mean? Like in the way that he moves and stuff. Like more of a I don't know. It's like a Devil May Cry sort of. I mean, that's not cartoony, but it is. There was that clip. You can check it. I also retweeted it, so you can check that. But I'm excited about it. It'll happen when it happens. But
yeah, I'm down for Breath of the Wild 2 before Breath of the Wild 2 comes out.
Yeah. So yeah. But before that came out, some SEGA Game Gear came out. This is from last week, actually, but we didn't talk last week, and so I wanted to bring it up because. Why not?
This is so stupid. Okay.
Very funny.
So this is another Wolf Den Live thing. I was on Wolf Den Live. And they were unfortunate enough to be Sega kids. So they have an affinity for the Game Gear. And I was like, why does this exist at all? Especially in the capacity that it does, where getting all of them costs $250. $250? $250, more than a Nintendo Switch Lite, to get all of these stupid little freaking.
They are so tiny. Also,
it's so stupid. It's so dumb. And I was like, the first thing wasn't even successful. Why charge $250 for the thing that celebrates it? That doesn't make any. It's dumb. It's dumb.
I wonder how well their the Sega Genesis Mini did, the most recent one.
See, the Sega Genesis Mini made sense though, right? Because the Sega Genesis
for sure
was successful.
Yeah, I mean, and also because it was a good good offer just in general. As far as you get 41 games or whatever for $80.
But now you get 4 games for $50.
Yeah. So that's quite a thing. It'll be interesting to see if they come out here at all. It definitely seems like it's something for collectors, and maybe just won't even, maybe they won't make that many of them.
I think if they do it here, the only chance they have of it being successful is if all of the colors have every game.
Yeah, right.
So it's not a collect them all sort of thing. It's like get whichever one you want and you'll be able to experience all the games. And it needs to be that $50 or cheaper. Because nobody here, except for the people that are unfortunate enough to grow up as super Sega fans and had a Game Gear. And this is the thing. I had a Game Gear. It was not good. It freaking takes 6 batteries. The games are
apparently, I can't corroborate this information, but apparently the battery life of it, so it takes 2 AA batteries, I think, and the battery life of it is 3 hours because they wanted it to be quote unquote, they wanted it to be the same as the original. I don't know if that was just something said, but it does seem like, I mean, it feels closer to a limited run games sort of thing. Like maybe they just aren't making that many, so that's why they're making them so expensive, is because they're like, or like collector's editions sort of things. Because like otherwise that doesn't make any sense. If they're selling a lot of
mass
these
market product at all.
The only thing it makes sense as is a collector's item for people as novelty,
Right.
Because people pay for novelty, people pay for nostalgia, but
that's true.
But so here's the question: does this? Well, this doesn't impact it at all. But Game Boy Classic, what would that be like by comparison? What would I don't know. We've talked about it before too.
I think it would be I think it would be a bad move to make a Game Boy Classic a Game Boy Mini. Like I think making that form factor smaller is not a good idea.
Yeah. I guess I typed in mini in the notes, but I should have just said classic because no, I think it would have to be.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't even referencing the notes. Cool. I was just saying that the fact that they with the Game Gear made it smaller is not a good idea.
I think a Game Boy Classic would have to be the size of a Game Boy Color. Is probably like the optimal. And even then, like there's a bevel on a Game Boy Color. They could increase that if they wanted to, because it wouldn't be hard to do so. But it would have to be that.
It would definitely have to be bigger. And the thing about it is, I think they would almost have to be like, it would have to be like Game Boy Color sort of things, and then like games that like support Game Boy Color, and then have the option for a filter that's the regular game, like a green game, like. For what the classic line is, where it's like partially novelty, but they want it to be functional, like they want it to be games that people today want to play, not just like, oh, I'll turn this on and it's neat, it's green and crappy looking, just like the original Game Boy. Like, I don't know if they would want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, like the original, they would have to put in not the original Tetris. I mean, but like I'm sure there's a Tetris DX for the Game Boy Color that was like same thing, but in color or whatever, where it's like, it's not the exact original one you remember, but it's the better version of it. Yeah. I don't know. I really hope they do a Game Boy Classic.
I think the ship has sailed on that. It's so
very
fun.
much seems
my
like
best friend Reggie said that we won't get it, and we didn't get it. So
what does he know? He's canceled anyway.
You gotta listen to Reggie when Reggie speaks.
But speaking of classic games, another one is coming to the modern day, and it's Alex Kidd in Miracle World
Another
DX.
Unfortunate Sega Kid relic.
This one I just thought was interesting because it feels similar to me to Monster Boy. Like that, the way that kind of got revived.
Wonder Boy and all the other Sega games that are like Panzer Dragoon and whatnot.
Yeah, and like here's the thing, I don't really care about Alex Kidd. I've played it on. I played a little bit of it once, and I was like, this is just a much worse Mario that I don't care about.
I played it on one of those crappy like the standalone game things with the RCA cables. I played on one of those, and it existed. It wasn't like the worst thing in the world, but it wasn't great either.
Agreed. The thing is, what I like about this though is that it's this way that we're getting old franchises coming back feels pretty good, where like same as Spyro, Crash Bandicoot or whatever, where it's like we'll remake these in the most like as if they were made today, but with the level design of the originals and that kind of thing, and like Wonder Boy, and some of them obviously don't turn out the best, like Panzer Dragoon, from what it seems like. Crash Bandicoot you hate anyway, so but I don't know, I feel like this is a good way to do that, where if they had done these remakes like 15, 20 years ago, I feel like they wouldn't have kind of gotten, I don't know. They would have been like,
they wouldn't have got the same level of like success, because back then it was like this whole thing of like, like people were moving away from platformers. Like that was like, that's how old games are. Like old games, it wasn't, these are classics. It's like, that's just old, Like,
So I don't know. Are there any other old franchises that you'd like to have that same kind of like just new coat of paint to bring it back into the modern era and then move forward from there?
The Ice Climbers. That game sucks, though.
I was gonna say the original though. Like I don't know if that's where
that game sucks. Make a good one.
Yeah.
Because, like, I just feel like it's like every Nintendo IP that's represented in Smash Bros. It's such a waste to not then parlay that into a full-on
I
thing.
was wondering if you were going to do a video about that this week because that thing you retweeted.
I had no idea what I was going to make a video about until the day before, and like I saw.
I should have sent that to you then. I mean, well, you retweeted it, but I should have suggested it. But the thing where somebody said, like Nintendo said, obviously Xenoblade.
Oh
performed better because Shulk.
You probably thought I was gonna make a video because I was like, you don't say, and I wasn't saying that as a thing of like I'm talking about that. I was saying it like, duh, like
yeah, right.
Of course.
Yeah. So, but I figured that. I mean, so for next week, maybe who's to say? Or maybe
possibly.
I will.
If I'm in a similar situation where it's like I don't know what I want to talk about.
But yeah, I mean, it feels like you said, that's kind of a given that all those franchises should have. Actually, maybe that's a good way to do a video on that, is just like all the franchises. I kind of did
a video like that a long time ago. Like around, like I think maybe right.
But it's a long time ago next week. Is that how that works?
I mean, sure. But I did a video that was similar to that, where it's like, hey, these characters like have cachet now.
Mm-hmm.
Make a game for them. But I guess I could do it again.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Who's to say?
Surely not.
So yeah, but there's that. And then the last thing is we honestly haven't had very much Nintendo news this week outside of the Paper Mario stuff. But last week we got Pokemon DLC announced for June 17th, which is next Wednesday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday kind of seems like a random day.
It does. And I was on Wolf Den Live and we talked about this and they said the same thing. And I was like, yeah, but like, this is the first time they did DLC. They don't have rules.
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever, dude. Yep. They're like, I'm free that day. You know, our social media team can work that day. Why not?
So what's your thoughts? Tell me.
I'm down, especially as, you know, like how I play Pokemon. It doesn't seem like it's, especially the first part of this DLC, is geared towards like the fan base that this isn't a make good, you know, like it seems like it is with the like Pokemon that they're bringing back, but this isn't them trying to be like, oh man, like we kind of missed the mark on how like the core you know, like target of what this experience is. It's just more of that. It's like and that's so on Wolf Den Live, the conversation we had, somebody was asking about whether or not they should play Pokemon and blah, blah. And I was talking about how, which as usually happens, I said one thing and then the whole narrative got shifted. But I was talking about how Pokemon is designed to be a tutorial for the end game, whether that be post-game content, playing with friends, playing competitively in tournaments, whatever that may be. The game is designed to get you to a position where you can play the game at the end of the game. Because everything it builds up to it like that. Like if they wanted to design it like an RPG, the first gym, none of the gyms, maybe just the first gym would be like, this is all one type. And this is how type advantage works. And then the rest of the gyms from there would mix in types and stuff. Progression doesn't happen like that in Pokemon.
Yeah, right.
Like the first gym is a mono type gym. Maybe the fourth gym is still going to be a mono type gym. Maybe they got one or two curveballs, but it's still going to be a rock gym, you know, like that sort of thing. And then the eighth gym is the same song and dance. If their intent was for it to be like a Nino Kuni or whatever, like they would teach you mechanics in the beginning, they will ramp it up and ramp it up and ramp it up and make it harder. But Pokemon never really ramps up until the very end. And even the Elite Four is still same song and dance. It's like monotype. The champion is the only time that there's really curveballs there. And that's where I went left. They were like, it's not a multiplayer game. You're saying it's a multiplayer game because you like multiplayer. And I'm like, no, I don't like. I mean, we talk about it. I don't play Pokemon, like Sword and Shield. It's like I beat the game. I got all the Pokemon in my Pokedex. I battle people every once in a while, but I'm not spending the time that I spend playing Smash Brothers playing Pokemon. And that's not to say that I don't like battling and stuff like that. But my only point with saying that is like that's what they want you to do. It's not what you need to do, but it's very clear that it's what they want you to do. And that's what this DLC is them being like, hey, man, this game's designed to get you to battle with your friends. Here's more stuff to battle with and against your friends.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Because the only, I mean, gym type thing in here is the one with the new Pokemon.
The Cubfu. Training up Cubfu into
and
Urshifu.
Yeah, so that one you're just using Cubfu. So like the fact that you have level 100 Pokemon or whatever already doesn't impact that at all.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I wonder how that matters for. I mean, I guess in general that doesn't matter for the rest of the wild area because that. I mean, the whole thing is the wild area because that's already how. If you're going through right now the wild area in base game, still trying to catch more Pokemon, the same would be true for this.
Right, like they already kind of level them up. And like as soon as you beat the Elite Four or whatever, or the Champions Cup, everything gets leveled up. It's like, all right, now everything in the wild area is at least level 60. Like that. Yeah. So I mean, maybe they might do another level boost for the new areas where everything's level 80 or whatever. But I still think for most people, level 60 is fine. Like, a lot of people that are going to be trying to play this do not have like more than maybe half their team level 100.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Let alone all their Pokemon or whatever. Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting to think about because I wonder, like just thinking about it, even though it's a bigger area, obviously the purpose of Pokemon isn't exploration. You know, like that's not like you're going into this new wild area. Some of that, a little bit, just being like, oh, that's cool, you know, and like training or battling new trainers and stuff like that. But obviously, it's not trying to really buck any of the trends that it's already.
It's not trying to be like an RPG.
Right.
Like the RPG side of Pokemon is more a means to an end. It's not like they're not trying to be Game of the Year beating out Dragon Quest or whatever, right? Like they're just using the medium to as their canvas, you know.
That's interesting. I mean, because if anything's trying to be like a single player focus by itself, it's the catching all the Pokemon as opposed to going through the story or whatever. Because I mean, we've talked about before, like that's how I always play the game is just single player, go through the story.
Right. But
it does end up feeling for the most part pretty shallow of an experience that way. Like not a bad experience, but just like not super deep.
Yeah. I mean, that was more or less what my point is. It's just that like it's there and you can do it. But that doesn't mean that that's what they want you to do. Like you might feel satisfied playing the game like that, and that's great. But that wasn't it's by happenstance. It wasn't something that they very intentionally were like, some people are not going to want to touch battling, so we better make everything else fun, you know. And that's the problem, is that they don't think like that, is that they're not saying like, you know, some people really love the campaign, so we better make the campaign really good. If the campaign's good, it's because they just felt like it that time.
I mean, that's why like in the marketing they'll talk about like, here's this new Pokemon and this is its ability and these are its whatever. Like those are the things for you to know, like, okay, this is how I can defeat other Pokemon with this Pokemon, instead of it being like, I don't know, these are just the Pokemon that are in the world. Like, wow, so interesting.
We didn't go into the game knowing more than what the first town was called. We knew maybe what one town is called. If the focus is the narrative and the exploration in the world and stuff like that, that would have been the trailers. It would have been the freaking I can't even think of Pokemon town names in this game, but it would have been like a Pallet Town trailer, you know. Like it wouldn't be a trailer about like, oh, this is the Urshifu trailer or whatever, right?
Yep.
So it's just like very clear in the marketing that that's what they want you to focus on. When they show you something, here's a new tool for competitive. When they announce a Pokemon, it's a tool, you know, like it's not, they don't really market it as like your friend, like it is anime or anything. Like that.
Which, that's interesting. I do wonder how this DLC will end up getting reviewed and like what people say, because I think people come to the game with different expectations all across the board of what that is, you know? And I mean, I think they try their best to cater. You made a video about this last week, but they try their best to cater to each one of those audiences within one game, but obviously just can't make it like the perfect experience for each of those. So, I mean, because otherwise, if they made it like the best possible single player experience and it takes forever to get to the battling stuff, then like people who want to just do the competitive stuff and don't care about an RPG in and of itself would be like, okay, what, like, I don't care. Like just rushing through it anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'll be curious to see how it reviews, to be perfectly honest. Because,
I think it's going to depend on the outlet and like how they divvy it up. If it's they're all take that like IGN-esque approach where it's like we want only the biggest Pokemon fan to review this or whatever, right? I think they'll review it well. But I think that the US gamers or even more casual, like the Forbes of the world, like they're more likely to be like, this wasn't like the Breath of the Wild DLC or whatever, right? Like, was it more? Well, even Breath of the Wild's a bad example. Like, this isn't the Horizon Zero Dawn expansion or whatever, right?
So. Yeah, I mean, this being Nintendo's, or not Nintendo's, Pokemon's first foray into actual DLC, will be interesting to see how they approach it and stuff like that as well. Also, side note, because I keep forgetting, if so, Slowbro is the Galarian form, or Slowpoke Slowbro is the Galarian form for this first expansion, at least. If Lapras isn't the Galarian form for the next one, I revolt.
Like, they're not going to do it. It's too late. They're not going to do it because we already have Lapras. Yeah, like Lapras is already there.
Or a Galarian evolution, maybe that. But
I mean, I don't even know if they would do that because we got the there's the freaking Gigantamax form.
Yeah. And wait, what does the Gigantamax form look like? I guess I never noticed that.
It's a Lapras with like rings of light around it and a bigger shell. And he's a big boy. And girl.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe Gigantamax Lapras is doing the Nessie thing on its own.
Yeah.
Okay. I accept. I'll allow it.
Yes, it's too late there. They missed the boat on that.
They did. Which would have been good.
They always freaking mess up, dude. There still needs to be a new form of Flygon because Flygon sucks. Like, why would you ever use Flygon? You're gonna get wrecked, dude. Like, Flygon.
The ground and flying, is that right?
No, he's ground and dragon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's just going to get wrecked, and also he doesn't really learn that many good attacks, but he looks cool. So like that's a waste of looking cool.
Yep. And there it is. That's Pokemon DLC. Any last thoughts on that? Good old Flareon.
But yeah, no, I'm down. I'll play it. It's Pokemon.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It is. Cool. There it is. All right. Well, that's it from the news, man. Is there anything else news-wise that caught your eye the past 2 weeks?
Talk about. Well, do we want to do videos first? Yeah. Or do we want to do the PlayStation thing first?
Let's do videos first.
Okay, let's do videos first.
So here we go. Here's, hey, you guys, we make some videos. You guys comment on those videos. And then some of those comments, we're like, wow, that's some good points. Let's talk about it. Because that's
the thing that we say.
So here we go. I made a video on Tuesday. Ideas for the next Zelda game.
Indeed.
And people made some good comments. So here we go. This is the long one first. Let's get to it. Hadex Maro, I probably said your name wrong. Thanks for commenting anyway. Says the following. Finally, when I heard Breath of the Wild 2 what Breath of the Wild 2 needs to fix, I was so afraid of, okay, here we go again with someone saying they need to remove weapon breaking. But you shared the exact same opinion I did, repairing and crafting. Crafting can even be a rune for the Sheikah Slate if you get 25% into the game where you select a number of items on the ground to combine them, sort of like a cooking pot, selecting a shield, flint, wood, and sticks, and you got yourself a cooking pot.
Okay, let's talk about this.
Yeah, I think we'll just go one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So that crafting could be. Okay, I see. Yeah. I was misunderstanding. Like you could, but that crafting would be one of the Sheikah Slate things. Yeah, man. I
think that weapons breaking is a good mechanic. I think that most of the pushback is because people want it to be like old Zelda, where you get your sword and that's your sword. I mean, there's like one sword that can break in like freaking Majora's Mask or something like that. I don't know. But other than that, like your sword is your sword. Yeah. But in this game, they want you to push you to they want to push you to use other things and to be resourceful. Yeah. It's not about like having like this set combat system in the sense where it's like, all right, X is slashing my sword and my sword slashes in this way, and that's what I'm comfortable with. And that's what I feel like a lot of people complain about It's less about the fact that the weapon breaks, but it's more about them not being comfortable with their other options, right? Where it's like, I don't like using the axe. I just want to use the sword, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's trying to make the game into something that it doesn't want to be. Like, it's very clear that like their intention was to make Breath of the Wild more of like a survival kind of thing. Not like this thing where you always feel like you're in control of the situation. So making it so that you can have your weapon and your weapon stays the way that it is goes against that intent, and that's just bad design to allow you to do that, to break the game as they intended you to play it.
Yeah, because I mean, like, the way that I play it also is like, if I don't want to use my weapon at this time, or not the first time, but an early time that I ran into a Hinox or whatever, it was one, I don't know, by the coast somewhere, and there was a big hole on a cave. It was like at the bottom, inside of this cave, and on the top of that cave there was a hole, and I could just drop bombs down onto it. And I spent like, it was early on in the game, so like I really just didn't have a lot of stuff to kill it, and I was like, I'm probably gonna die, so I just dropped bombs on it for like probably 10 solid minutes, got stuff from it that like was better weapons than I had or whatever, and that was like, just felt really resourceful and fun. But like, having to have those moments of figuring out what to do instead, and I think that's why people didn't in the DLC, the second DLC, where that one where you only had you had to like stealth around and you only had a quarter of a heart and you couldn't be hit.
Oh, like that one hit KO with the one hit KO weapon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people didn't like that because they were used to a certain style. I loved it because I was used to like being, stealth archer, whatever style. So it worked out great for me because I had a bunch of good bows and you could still use your bows. But I don't know. Yeah, in general, I think the weapon breaking was good, but it would be nice to have some.
If it was like a loop, if it was like it wasn't a hard stop. It was like, okay, my weapon broke, but can I then either restore this weapon or even use that broken weapon to make a better one?
Totally, yeah. So yeah, or even also, seeing like it's about to break. Right now, we already have a way to see that it's about to break, but then you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But then like being able to fix it at that point,
and that, like in that scenario, it's because like the final hit is like stronger.
Yeah.
So, like,
which
is like it has purpose. It's just
it
like,
does.
Okay, it's about to break. Let me use this for when I want to get the final.
But it would be, I think, like it would be, good game design or whatever too, to have
to double down on that of why the meter's there. It's like,
and
okay,
like maybe like it ends up using up more resources to fix a weapon than to get a new one. But if it's a weapon that you really want that weapon, then fixing it up with those extra resources is worth it. Like not even that it's worth just like some, here, but like it's, in general, like that would just be cool to, have that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I love the idea of crafting some stuff and that being a Sheikah Slate thing. So
yes.
Continuing with your comment, Hot X, here we go. I also think they need to change the rune formula. Making you get all 4 runes at the start of the game was just a bad choice. Each one should have been locked behind a quest that you needed to complete for each divine beast. This quest would be given by the chief of the village, and you couldn't get to the beast before grabbing it. Or they could have made you obtain it directly in the divine beast dungeon itself, like a normal Zelda dungeon. Go in, get gear to complete the dungeon, go out with the newly acquired gear. I really, really hope they space the new runes out. I have thoughts on this.
I disagree with this. I think that the way that they started you with all the tools that you need to beat the game was a really interesting take on the Zelda formula. The whole idea of this game is to be a Zelda game, but not, where it was like they don't want to do the same song, different dance situation,
Yeah.
So for them to like make runes just the thing of like, oh man, like what do I do in this dungeon? Oh, there's like glowy eyeballs. I guess I gotta shoot glowy eyeballs with something. Probably going to get a slingshot, like that sort of thing. Like that makes Zelda so stale and predictable and boring. IMO. So for them to like go back to that, I feel like is going backwards. Like it feels like more of like a comfort thing than anything else. I think that runes, if anything, I would, if they were to like add more runes, maybe keep the like and spread those out later, and then still so that they're not like essential in any way. I don't think that it helps the the idea of Breath of the Wild about making them something that you need, but rather like a tool in your toolkit to be able to say, I want to solve this problem. How will I solve this problem? And then you have different options to do that.
So I'm going to skip over to a different comment and then come back to it, because I think this other one answers it actually really well. Well, I'll say some more things in a second. But this comment's from Chef Boy RP, and then we'll come back to the rest of Hadek's comment. But Chef Boy RP says, do you remember how you upgrade your runes in Hateno Village? I think to add dungeons, they need to add the upgraded runes in these dungeons, but the upgrades have to be bigger though. For example, Magnesis can turn into a sort of hookshot magnet power once you find it in the dungeon, and the dungeon will surround that mechanic. So I think with like, that would be a good middle ground of how to do it, where like you're
still doing that. You're still like,
well, hear me out. You ready for these words? Here they go. I think it's kind of the game that this reminded me of is actually the It'll Do 2 that I played recently, where the overworld is you can beat any of the dungeons that are in the overworld with just your base mechanics, and you don't have to learn any of them. So you can do the dungeons in any order, but then within dungeons you have to use the things that you learned in that dungeon. So like it feels gimmicky within the dungeon to show you like, here's all the different ways you can use it, but then like, you know, you still have to use it within that dungeon. But then in the rest of the world, it's just part of your toolkit, but it still starts you out with a lot more stuff. So like,
I think that segmenting it like that in a game like this would make dungeons feel like tutorials. And that I
kind of feel like they are though in the
tradition.
They are,
and that's the thing that I don't think is good. Like I think that makes the level design of Zelda feel less like, I don't know, like masterful in a way. Like it kind of feels like baby's first game design in a sense. Where like originally when they did it, it was really smart, because nobody did it like that before, right? Like that whole like way of teaching the player how to play the game by having them play the game. But now it's like, it's kind of like how people talk about like Deadpool, right? Like the first time that they were doing all this subversive stuff, just doing that again is now subversive. You became the joke that you were making, because you're a formula now. So like them making it a formula, this thing that was supposed to be like, it's so innovative and this was smart design and stuff like that, just doing that exact same thing again just dilutes it every time you do it. So for them to like go back to this old way of thinking where it's like, okay, the only way that a player can beat this game is if we funnel them in, you know, like the only way that a boss can be interesting, a puzzle can be interesting, is if we tell them exactly what tool they need to use, whether it be in a limited capacity or not. I just think that takes away from what the game could be, because like even if there's shrines in Breath of the Wild that heavily like hint at you using a specific rune, you don't have to use that rune. There's still ways to do it without that. And I think that taking that away in any way, in any like part of the game, is just diluting that vision.
I guess all things considered, I don't even necessarily care that the dungeons themselves use the specific rune or power or whatever, but I think I like the idea of you getting new abilities from dungeons anyway, and that being one of the possible solutions or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that if the ability that you get is ambiguous and it's not this thing that's like, this is the answer to the thing you're in.
Yes, I definitely prefer that. I think I just like the idea of having just dungeons,
like something to work for.
Yeah, exactly. And learning new things through dungeons. I think that was the fun part in the past. And like there was still some of that in the Divine Beasts. But I mean, I had a number of issues with the Divine Beasts that I've talked about on here before, namely the theming, that they just like kind of felt boring, and that they felt compact, which was like good or whatever, that it's like, you know, this, because they were built into a shape of a thing, they kind of had to fit that shape and use everything as best as they could. But like, it didn't feel like a big dungeon, you know? So that's a thing. But yeah, I mean, all things considered, I definitely agree that like the tools to beat the game, it's better to have them all at the beginning and just figure out all the cool, crazy ways they all interact with each other throughout the game. But but it wouldn't be bad also to have some ways to upgrade them into cooler things later down the road as well.
Yeah.
You know,
I like the idea of doing that. I just don't think that the game should require you to do that. It shouldn't, because at that point I think they become a gimmick, and that.
Yeah. Because even that was like a good and bad part about the Ganon fight in Breath of the Wild, was that it was there were some things where it's like, oh, well, it's definitely best to do this part this way. Like, you know, there's like at this part, maybe try to parry lasers or whatever. But also, if you don't do that, you can still be fine. You don't have to do it, you know?
Right.
So that's pretty much the best thing about the whole game.
Yeah. And I think that in moments like that, the best thing for them to do is to provide multiple options that are the best thing to do, because then it doesn't feel like there is a best thing to do.
Yeah.
If at the same time where it's like maybe parry, it's like if you put a bomb here before he attacks you and you blow it up, you'll also get rewarded similarly, right? That sort of thing. Like, give people multiple options rather than like randomly giving them options that can be handled in this one specific way but don't necessarily need to be.
Yeah. So let's come back to the comment now and keep going. So continuing on this comment, he says, lastly, we need a difficulty level where we can't, as in unable to, eat ingredients. You can only eat meals, but meals have a limited time before they spoil, where spoiled food hurts you rather than heals if you eat it, thus making the need to craft cooking pots feel more needed and well integrated and implemented. Potions, however, don't have a time limit, but you're limited for how many you can carry by how many empty bottles you have. Empty bottles can be acquired through certain side quests. Empty bottles are a huge part of Zelda and really should make a comeback, especially for this game. How many of the side quests in Breath of the Wild just give you 100 rupees or something equally useless like that? Imagine if half of those actually gave you something useful, like an empty bottle.
I think I disagree with this, but I agree with the idea of using difficulty to change how food works, because I see what he's saying. Like, it does make it easy, but oh shoot, I'm about to die, let me eat a whole bunch of apples, right?
Yeah.
But I think that limiting that kind of breaks the immersion of the game, you know. I think that the way to kind of wall it off in a difficulty way would be to implement hunger, if anything, right? Where it's like health works more like it does in Minecraft, where you get hungry, and if you're too hungry, then you'll like slowly lose health. But also when you're full, you slowly regain your health.
Yeah.
I think that would be a better way to solve that problem.
I mean, like, there's some mods for Skyrim, I know, where they did that kind of thing. And when Skyrim came out on the Switch, it also came out on the like a definitive edition or whatever came out on the PC.
Yeah.
And Mitch got it, and he's like, I'm getting it on the PC so that I can use a bunch of mods because that'll be fun. He really enjoyed Skyrim, and he started playing through it, and he was like, you know, this is just tedious. Like, he did that mod exactly where like you have a hunger meter, and it's like very much a survival game. And he was like, it's not really fun. Also, Skyrim for maybe a third playthrough maybe just isn't maybe that's not the best kind of game to have to play a lot of times because you get your fill of it. I don't know.
But if it's like a difficulty thing, I think that.
And like that part, as part of the master mode, or like in the master mode, you can choose like, do you want it to be this kind of way or this kind of way? And the food thing, I mean, honestly, if I remember, it's been a while since I've actually played it at this point, but I think the food just takes up part of your regular inventory, and you have like 7 screens of inventory space or something like that. I get you could easily just have a food inventory space, like, you know, a backpack refrigerator that's just separate and smaller in and of itself, and that wouldn't feel artificial. It's just like, oh, I can only carry this much food, and that makes sense. So, but yeah, I mean, I think the food spoiling also.
I think that. So he said, hold on, is it unable? He said that you're unable to eat the ingredients. I think that limiting the amount of food that you can carry makes sense,
gotcha.
But limiting how often you can eat the food, I think, feels arbitrary. That's why I think that if you limit how the eating the food works, that would make more sense in the context of like a whole picture. Because like, if it's based off of hunger, just eating food right before you're about to die wouldn't immediately solve the problem of you being about to die. You still had to survive long enough for your health to replenish itself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think
but I mean, there's something within that would be really cool for sure.
Mhm.
And then the last bit of his comment says, speaking of rupees, they really, really need to fix the economy. If I have 5,000 rupees at all times, then items should be in the 500 range, not the 1 to 10 range. It made it feel like everything in the game was free, and that just isn't fun. Not only that, the stuff they were selling just seemed useless. Arrows were nice, but where are all the weapon shops? It feels like literally everything was food-based, which we already have too much of so as it is.
I don't know. I think that's another immersion thing. I think it would be weird for them to be like, hey, man, we know you got 5,000 rupees. So now our shop, if we're having inflation, dude, everything's 10 times the price. It would be very strange.
I mean, I think part of it was, if I remember, I feel like the Hateno village stuff with the dude where you buy like ancient armor and ancient weapons and stuff, probably the need for having a lot of money is more related to that at that point. Because like, yeah, the regular shops kind of feel like pennies at that point, but it still costs, if you want an ancient, sword or whatever, something that only you can get from there. It's been a while since I played, so I don't remember what the things are, but that stuff was like 2,000 rupees or something like that. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know of a good way to balance that. I remember feeling that way a little bit too, where it's like, well, I've got all this money, I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
I think the way to like,
I also feel like that in every RPG I ever play, because I never spend money. So like, man,
I think the best way to like balance that, I guess, is not by artificially increasing things that are essential, but giving you things that you want to spend money on that aren't.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
So I think that's the way to solve that.
Yeah. Like, I mean, easily, because you can, you've got different outfits or whatever, and you upgrade all of those if you want to by going to the Great Fairies. But I don't remember what all the colors of those are, if you can change them a lot. I feel like you can change, you can dye them.
There's like,
that's right. And it costs some money.
Yeah, but you can't dye like everything. There's certain things that, like, you can't dye.
Yeah. So, but some version of that, like where, if your money could be spent towards those kinds of things, like more cosmetic things that are just fun, then that could be a good way to do that. But
or even if it's not cosmetic, like just something that would make your life easier one way or another, that's not essential, but it would make you want to do, like, I don't know, a thing that like you could spend money, and every time you kill a deer or whatever, it gives you more meat, like that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah.
And then that costs like a lot of money to both like balance it out and not make it too easy to get as much food as you want, but also keep it at a point where it's desirable. I want to buy that, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. One thing I did have a thought while I was editing this video was, like, people always talk about how there's not that many enemy types in Breath of the Wild, which is true.
Yeah, I said
however,
that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I said it in the video too. But then I realized as I was editing and watching footage, there are like a ton of just plain old animals that do have their own AI and stuff like that. So I think we don't really take that into consideration very often, is all the different kinds of birds, the fish, maybe not so much, but like the deer, boar, the big boar things, foxes, and the way that they all interact with the world and stuff. So like, that's definitely something, and that helps it feel more fleshed out as well. But that said, more enemy variety would also be nice for the next game, especially because it's so big.
And it's not like they use that,
right?
Like, bears are not like scary. It's not like, oh, shoot, I'm near a bear, he's another enemy type or whatever.
I don't know. Well, bears can kill you for sure. Early
they can,
on in the game,
but it's not scary.
Yeah,
it's true. They act way more like they attack when they are attacked.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then otherwise they'll run away. I tamed a bear twice maybe in my original playthrough, and that was a very fun time. I did it
for the social media post.
Yep, 100%.
Just like the deer and the freaking the demon horse.
Yep, I did the same thing, and I just had no social media presence then, so it didn't matter. But there you go.
Man.
That's the end of.
That's what Breath of the Wild 2 is for.
That's the end of Hidek's comment, and honestly, great points. I think some of these things are things that it's important things that they should look at. The way that they fix them exactly.
I like everything that he said as far as like, this is a problem. I disagree with some of the solutions that he proposed, but I agree with all the problems.
Yeah, but that's how, you know, any kind of roundtable stuff works anyways. Like somebody's like, this is a solution. It's like, okay, well, that might not work because of this and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but good stuff. Next comment. This is from my friend Tyler. I posted the video on Facebook, and I don't do that all that often, but I did. And he commented the following, and I enjoyed it. He said, I love the time travel idea. I'd be very curious what this version of Hyrule looked like prior to the destruction of it. I also want more melee weapon variants. I think it would be cool if some weapons came with their own specific special abilities, especially, and this is my favorite part of the comment, especially the very underwhelming weapons received after defeating the divine beasts. I also think a weapon, armor, and accessory crafting system would be great with the crazy amount of monster parts you get that you just don't have a use for in the first game, making it similar to the cooking system where you don't really know what you'll get, but random recipes exist in the world for you to find. I also think this would help customize play styles for individual taste. Yeah. I think, like I said, my favorite part of that was I'd forgotten how underwhelming the divine beast weapons are, especially because like they're all pretty much set so that those weapons would be pretty strong if that were your first divine beast, but not at all if they're your second, third, or fourth, because by that point you just have better weapons, and like they look cool, and it's like cool to be like, oh yeah, that's that bow that, you know, Rivali had or whatever, but at the same time, it would be nice if they actually had something special about them, like different abilities, or I don't know. I mean, even if they had the whole Master Sword, like they ran out of energy but didn't break kind of thing, because I just didn't use them because I was like, they look cool and I want to keep them, and I could buy them again, but buying them doesn't feel fun. Like it's more fun to kill an enemy and take their weapons than it is to go back and be like, I broke the weapon, can I buy a new one?
I don't think I've ever broke. I think those are the only weapons that like I saved, and not for like a thing of like, I'm gonna save this because I need a good weapon, but just because like, I mean, there's no real reason to want to use this. You know? Especially once I got the Master Sword, I was like, all right, well, let's freaking put this in my house.
And that's, I mean, honestly, more storage too would be cool in the house, because you can store 3 weapons up on the wall or whatever. But like, there are so many cool weapons that I would totally store more weapons just to be like, look at these cool weapons. I did like the house stuff. Also, I don't know why we didn't have a house in Terrytown, because we helped build that. Yeah. Side note. Also, more Terrytown
stuff. That's
not
where Link lived, dude.
That's true.
That's Link's house.
That is Link's house.
From 100 years ago when the Fire Nation attacked.
But yeah, I really like. I like.
Oh, we should talk about that too after the videos. Not Avatar, Pokemon, but yes.
What?
the anime on Netflix.
Oh yeah. Good point. Okay, so then that's that comment. I'm with you. The crafting thing, like I said, I didn't go too much in depth on the crafting thing because I know other people have a decent amount, and like they make good points. You know, so I agree.
I agree.
There it is.
That should have been your video. You should have said like in the beginning, crafting. I agree. And then
it'll be good.
That was just the end. And then like you like did a forget like a fast scroll of like all the thumbnails of the videos that mentioned crafting.
Yep. And then the last comment is from John Francis. What's up, John Francis? Said, gonna throw this out there. Is it possible that nostalgia fanboys are what's holding the series back from amazing things?
100%.
Again, no attacks. Too stoned on painkillers to care. I had shoulder surgery. But is it possible that the nostalgia holds you back from seeing / wanting new things? 100%. I love the shrines, for instance. I knew that if I didn't have a lot of time in my first playthrough, I could hit up a shrine for a short bit and still feel like I was progressing. A longer dungeon / having no shrines would take that away. I don't know. Gonna sleep now. Had shoulder surgery yesterday, and I'm hurting again. Absolutely love fanatixfour and things you guys. And think you guys are amazing. Would be a dream to meet y'all. Likewise, John Francis.
But yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Most of the things that people say where it's like, I don't like shrines, it always boils down to, I don't like shrines because they're not dungeons. And it's like, oh, okay, they're not trying to be. So like, that's a moot point at that point.
Yep. I think the only thing, yeah, because I really liked the shrines. It was a fun thing to stumble upon them. There were a couple that were there was one. It's the one inside a mountain on the Hebra mountain region or whatever. Oh my goodness, I had the like beeper thing turned on to like try to find it, and was just scaling the entire mountain like just one bit at a time, trying to find it to figure out where it was beeping more and more. And then it turned out you have to go other places and roll a snowball down and stuff. And it was like, oh, that's dumb. Because I was trying not to look up any of them, but I don't remember if I looked up that one or if I just left and came back and was like, oh, that was that one. But
I think it's like one of those things that's kind of like how people complain about like the evolution requirements for stuff like Sirfetch'd and freaking Reuniclus or whatever, or no, Coffer Grigis's evolution. I don't remember what his name is. Reuniclus is a different Pokemon. But yeah, like the thing of like go under the stone thing. Like I think that they don't do that as like a video game objective. They do it as like this thing that like you just randomly do and you're like, oh shoot, my Pokemon's evolving. You know, like kind of like the anime. Like they don't in the anime, they're like, all right, gotta get Pikachu to level 25. You know, like they're not doing that. Your Pokemon just evolves and you're like, oh shoot. I think that's kind of like what it is with the shrines, where it's like you're just supposed to stumble on them. They're not supposed to like stuff you check off on a list.
But man, it was that was one. But I mean, that to say, the shrines in general, I just really liked. And some of them were really short. Some of them were super long. Like, honestly, some of the longest shrines, I feel like were like a third of the length of an actual dungeon, more or less, like, which is quite a bit. So that said, like, yeah, I think they in general were great. The only thing that I think was missing from shrines was, like I said with the Divine Beast before, the fact that they were all the same like theme and feel aesthetic exactly detracts a little bit by comparison to being like, this is the sand dungeon, which also gets to feel really generic after a while. So some kind of mixture would be nice. But I don't know. I hope they don't get rid of the shrine idea in this next one.
I think that like,
or come up with something new, you know.
That's what the world is. Like the world of Breath of the Wild is like, all right, I'm in this region. This is the snow region.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Like, and I guess that what they could do is put shrines within that, theme them around the region that they're in.
I'm down with that.
But I think that making them homogenous to some point just makes sense. Like it wouldn't make sense if like the freaking like, all right, you're part of the interior design faction of my empire. You make dungeons like that. Yeah, you make dungeons like, it's like, nah, dude, it's all one guy. They all.
And that said, like, honestly, I guess I don't even really want the shrines to like. I do like the fact that they were homogenous. I liked the shrine music. Like, I was super down for it. I think it's just that's the only thing that dungeons have an upper hand on that the shrines don't. But again, it wouldn't have made a lot of sense for like, oh, you're underground in this thing that people built. There's randomly snow in here and there's lava in here. Like, they didn't build it well because this stuff's just kind of creeping in. Like, what's going on? So that was a good thing about the DLC 1-pack or whatever, where that was fun going into those shrines where you had the test of strengths or whatever they were called. But besides that,
that was the one thing about shrines that I didn't like, the freaking test of strength. Because I feel like they could have did that, but like made them bosses, like did like mini boss situations, even if it was like freaking like like guardianified mini bosses that already exist. That
would be sort of bio, sort of robot dudes. I mean, kind of like the Ganons, the Blights were sort of that, but Ganon plus Sheikah stuff.
Right. If they did that, and then like it was just a tweaked version of like a Lionel, like sometimes he shoots a freaking laser beam at like so
that would have been cool.
Yeah. Because then it would have been a real test of strength. It's like, this is like a mini boss, but like a higher level mini boss than that. It's like, let's see if you understand how this enemy works, and can we throw a curveball at you and you win. sort of thing.
I mean, the only thing too with that made me think of is for the game in general, the difficulty curve is a bit like isn't super well done in the sense that it's so easy at the beginning. I mean, it's so hard at the beginning, but then so easy at the end.
And
which
I think
like
that's by design. It's like the game, the story part of it is supposed to be like your experience. It's not like a hands-on story of like Link did this and blah blah blah. It's like you came here, you were useless, you got better, now you're stronger, everything else is useless. That's the character arc, right? It doesn't play like a video game, it plays like a narrative. Which is interesting, but for people that are expecting a video game, it's like underwhelming.
I mean, there's pros and cons to that, because on the accessibility type side, it's like the more you do, the more you'll be able to do, which is good, because like there needs to be a way that like if there's, you know, one of the test of strengths is a Lionel cross with the Guardian or whatever, like if you just can't level up to be able to beat him, then that sucks. I just had a fight in Xenoblade Chronicles that I saw somebody tweet, well, I guess it seems or looks like the defensive Kramer fight is just as crappy as it always has been, or whatever, Cromar. And I was like, I don't know what that's going to be, but apparently that's in the area I'm coming up to. And I came up to it and it's like, yeah, this fight is just garbage. Like it was just huge difficulty spike for no reason. It wasn't a mechanic that I didn't learn or something. It was just like really hard. So I just flipped it onto casual mode for literally that fight and flipped it back off because I was like, I don't want to deal with this for too long. And it seems, and like other people online said the same thing. They were like, yeah, that seems like that's there for you to have to flip it to casual mode or something. I don't know. Max, I'll be curious your thoughts on that.
It's just supposed to be like a persistent challenge, which just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, like I think Breath of the Wild's approach makes more sense. But in this regard, people don't want it to make sense. You know, like they
people want it to get harder as you go because you're getting better. But I mean, you can artificially do that by not chipping in your, you know, stamina upgrades and health upgrades and stuff. But that does feel like that lessens some of the excitement of like, I got these, I earned these. Like instead, I've just got 37 on back order.
But I think it's I don't know. They like the desire is conflicting with what the outcome is. Like the you want to feel rewarded, and that's what the game does, but you don't feel rewarded by it rewarding you. Whereas like you beat Ganon so easily because you worked hard to make him suck. You know, like
exactly.
Or alternatively, if you want that challenge, just freaking run in there, dude. You know, like it's there. It's just you gotta want to do it. You know, like you can't, like I don't know, like that's just how the game is designed. It wouldn't really serve their narrative well if the whole game, it would be like you were dreaming the whole time or whatever, right? If the whole game you're working towards this very established goal of if you do this, Ganon will be weakened enough for you to be able to beat him. If you then are able to do that just for the lulz, and then like for whatever reason the game's like JK, Ganon's not weakened, he's still hard as if he never did all that stuff, it just would defeat that purpose. And I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
I will say I was like simultaneously thrilled with and disappointed by the reward of having beat the 4 divine beasts. I don't know if everybody's finished the game. It sounds like maybe some people haven't.
Come on, dude. We're knocking on the door of Breath of the Wild 2. It's on you at this point.
I only say that because somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody commented, they were like, I haven't finished yet, so I'm going to come back later. So, but in any case, the fact that you beat the 4 divine beasts and it just makes Ganon weaker, I was simultaneously happy and not happy about that, which is a weird thing. Same as, and I tweeted about this and did a poll, where all the blessing shrines, where it's like an overworld puzzle, and then if you beat the overworld puzzle, then you find the shrine, and that's the tricky part, and then you just go into the shrine, and they're like, you did it, good job, hooray. I put out a poll asking if people were disappointed with that or like relieved by that. And more people were relieved, but not by a significant margin. It was like 60-40.
I didn't see that poll. I would have voted on it, and it would have been more in the favor of the relieved. Because I don't know. I feel like I would have just been frustrated if
Yeah.
if the puzzle before. I mean, because some of them are easy.
Yeah.
You know, like the initial puzzle, like the one where it's like all the freaking guardians are like trying to shoot at you or whatever, and then like you get to the shrine and it's like, you know, like that one. I'm like, all right, because I think I just like freaking stumbled through that and I landed in front of the shrine. I was like, oh, okay. But whatever ones are hard to get through, if I had to do a whole freaking shrine after that, I would have just been mad. I would have been like, yo, I just did all this crap and you were trying to get me to do even more harder crap right after I did the last thing. No, you know, just freaking save the game and turn it off. I'll approach this later. But like them being like, oh no, you already, you know, the journey was half the battle.
They don't know which ones people are going to stumble on or not. So like they kind of have to pick or choose one or the other. So like I think it makes sense that they did the way they did, but there definitely were some where I was like, oh, well, I guess there's a shrine here. Oh, I did it. I did the thing, I suppose. So like whatever, cool. But I think, I mean, it's the better game design choice, but even if at the moment I was like, oh, whatever. So that's enough of that. We've talked about this game for a very long time now. But I'm ready. Do you think, okay, here's the last question. Do you think we get a new just trailer for it in 2020 of some sort?
I think we have to. I mean, I think we have to if Nintendo even cares a little bit about what the other guys are doing, which I'm not entirely sure they do.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to figure that like holiday wise, because like they'll say ad infinitum that it's like we're not competing with them, blah blah. They are. I don't know if they're competing with them in the same way that they're competing with each other, you know, like the way Sony and Microsoft compete with each other, but they're competing with them in the same way that they're competing with Apple, you know, that Apple's competing with Google and Google's competing with cable networks. Like they're competing for your attention, whether they want to admit it or not. And to keep your attention, they need to, you know, keep pace with them in terms of like exciting announcements.
Yeah, I mean anything that's asking for your money is competing with anything else asking for money. Like anybody that says for the price of a cup of coffee a month you can get blah blah blah. Like
you're then competing with that coffee.
Yeah, like who would have thought that, you know, whatever that thing is competing with coffee, but sure enough, you know. So I think
I want this more or less than the coffee.
Right. So I think they are. I agree. I would be surprised if we didn't get a trailer this year. Again, I initially thought it was coming out this year, but I mean, definitely not at this point.
It would be hilarious if freaking Breath of the Wild 2 came out around Horizon 2 Dawn or whatever.
Oh man, it probably will. Honestly,
would be
though,
so funny. I would lose my mind. But also I would be kind of sad because like I'm buying a PlayStation 5 and we'll get to that. But like it would still be funny. Like I would not play Horizon 2 Dawn or whatever, the Horizon 2 Nighttime. But like it would be funny.
It would be funny. But speaking of you made a video. Here's some comments from your video. Any thoughts on your video before we do it?
It's true. I made the video and it was very stressful because I wasn't planning on the PlayStation event factoring into my schedule. Like I thought where I was like, I did the thing that I wanted to like push it back. I was going to do that anyway, but I didn't even know like Bob was streaming it and I was just assumed to be on there. Like he didn't say anything to me. It was just a thing of like, he said while he was streaming, he was like, "Where's AJ?" And then he asked it again. He was like, "Where's AJ?" And then Atten, who's a viewer, he DM'd me and was like, "Yo, Bob's looking for you." And I was like, "What?" And I was literally at, like minute 8 of my video of editing it. So I was like, I guess. And I stopped editing and I went and I did the thing. And then like after the event stopped, I was like, okay, I want to still try to get this video to be done as soon as possible. So I rushed and I edited it and then I freaking tweeted it out and then I didn't have the link and it was just a mess, dude. It was just a mess. So
it happens. But you did it and you told people to buy some games. So yeah. Here's the things they said. Cool said, great video streak, 361.
Yo,
thanks, man. Those are some really cool suggestions. I've always thought of Super Lucky's Tale, but never felt encouraged enough to buy it. I may give it a try now. Thanks.
No problem. Yeah, we talked about this, and Max was on here when we talked about it. Good game. I was not I mean, I'm not going to say I wasn't expecting it to be a good game, I guess. I wasn't expecting it to be a game of note. I thought it was like, okay, this is another like 64-bit era like nostalgia play. And that's fine, but not worth my time. And then I tried it and I was like, oh no, this is dope.
Yeah, I played up through till you get, because I mean I just played your copy till you get to the hub world, and then I played I think like a little bit of the first level after that, so barely past the like tutorial area or whatever, but like controlled well, felt good, characters seemed pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like platformers. The male 518 said Mario Tennis Aces was another great game to buy, just because it was a specific sports game. The game is jam-packed with a lot of stuff, and it's cool with a lot of competitive games and a fun adventure mode. Also, $42 instead of $60 is a good bargain.
I was gonna put that on there, and I was gonna put Mario Party, and I was gonna put a lot more Nintendo stuff on there, but I didn't want it to be like freaking 80% Nintendo stuff.
Yeah,
and I also didn't want the video to be freaking 16 minutes long. So stuff had to get cut, dude.
Yep.
And that was one of them. I was just like, all right, what are the Nintendo games that are on sale currently that I would prioritize if I was not me?
Yep.
And those are the ones.
I wonder how they. I'm trying to think back. Oh, no. I guess when you play through the adventure mode, you just play as Mario the whole time. It's been a while, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I wonder how they do the new DLC characters that they dropped in later, if there's a way. Because I thought maybe they introduced different characters in the story mode, but they don't.
Just like playing tournaments and multiplayer and stuff like that.
So, but that said, it does seem like now, I mean, if you were going to get it,
now's a good time to do it.
Outside of like, I don't know how the online scene is these days. If a lot of people are on, so like maybe that's lower than it would have been back in the day. Maybe not.
I think that's the main reason why I didn't talk about it, this game specifically, because I think that is a good thing to like take note of. Of like, and that's why I cut Mario Party, is because that's the opposite of that. Where it's like, this game is like a different game from when it first came out. I didn't really feel like I could speak to that because I'm not playing it. So
exactly.
Speak directly to like how it improved.
Yeah. I mean, this is the best value proposition that Mario Tennis Aces has been, outside of maybe online ? Yeah. But that said, it still depends on.
I also cut talking about Kirby, because that was going to be a thing of like, don't buy this game, and I was like, I don't really want to make it.
Yeah. We should make I've seen a couple of comments about making a Kirby movie, Kirby video at some point, which we haven't done a new Kirby video in a while. So that's an idea. Back burner.
It's true.
Zach Gray said, good tips on how to approach the sale. Firewatch has been on my list, so I snagged that rare sale and added Golf Story and Grease. Then I added then I saw GameStop had other digital sales, so I picked up Celeste finally.
Yes. I think Celeste is also on sale through Nintendo too. But yeah, it's tough to like. I don't know. I wanted to like have a balance of like the bigger games and then also some indies, but like at the same time, just thinking again, putting myself in other people's shoes, I would more so want to maximize my money, like, and not in the sense of like getting as many games as possible, because I know I wouldn't play them even before all of this, right? Like I know, like I could buy 20 games for freaking $100 or whatever, but I'm not going to have the time to play 20 games. So I'd rather spend $100 on 2 to 3 games that I know I'm going to want to play for a long period of time. So I kind of wanted to prioritize the like retail, like blockbuster games, and then just name like a couple like notable indie games to like throw in there, because like you're not going to spend like an even amount of money or like a rounded number amount of money on just a couple of blockbuster games. You're going to have, if you're like, my budget is $300 or whatever, right? You got $15 left over, like
right. Yep. I mean, I think one of these videos too, we should probably mention, have you used Deku deals at all? Do you know what that is?
See, I was going to go, I didn't want this video to be freaking 3 hours long. But I was going to
Did you use that as being able to see like which games went on sale often?
Yeah.
For this,
So I was going to push back against the whole thing, but it was just simpler to be like, okay, that's the running opinion. So let's just go with that and keep going. But I was going to push back against the whole idea that Nintendo games never go on sale, because a lot of the games that people say never go on sale go on sale a lot. You know, like the Mario Odysseys, the Breath of the Wilds, and stuff like that. They go on sale to the point where their average sale is lower than retail. It's like $40 or something like that on that thing.
Yeah.
So like, I just didn't want to spend the time being like, you know, it just was wasted real estate in the video.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. But yeah, good games. Pat Green said, I bought the Switcher on this sale. Then I remembered I can't play it around the kids, so it's only gotten 30 minutes of play in the last few days.
Rip, dude. Man, that's what handheld mode's for.
Yeah, no kidding. That's one. Mitch was like, oh, I've got that physically. Parker, do you want to borrow that? Because he has it on something else too. And I was like, yes, but not until I'm done with like so many of the games that I own right now. Like, I just want to get out of my backlog. And maybe I just have to call it quits on some of it. I talk about that all the time. But
yeah, man, just cut the cord, dude.
Cut the cord. Some of it, it's just like I got for Christmas too, and I don't want to like not have played those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that. But I also like, whatever. It doesn't matter. But the Switcher. Let us know how you enjoy it, Pat. That is all. Last
when your kid is 18 and out of the house.
Exactly. Or playing it themselves.
Yeah.
Alex Arkhipov. I'm sorry I said your last name wrong, I'm sure, but thank you for commenting. Dude, even if you may not like Ubisoft, you still have to admit Rayman, Child of Light, and Valiant Hearts are good for anyone to buy them. Telling others that only Mario and Rabbids are good among Ubisoft games is not right. Not to mention Supergiant Studios games are perfect for this list too, IMO.
I was just memeing, dude. Like, I don't like that was just the thing of like, I think that this game, again, this was a game that barely even made it in the video. At all. I mostly wanted to bring up to people, Ubisoft also is having a sale.
Yeah.
So that is enough for you to be able to do your own research on there and then bring up a game that is having a huge markdown.
Yeah.
It almost got cut because that's another game that goes on sale a lot.
Yeah. Ubisoft in general, yeah, they put their games on sale just all the time.
Yeah. So that's really what that was. It was a meme. It's because I know it gets a rise out of people to be like, this game sucks. And it's like, I mean, I don't like the game, but like, usually I'm not going to go out of my way to like tell people the game sucks because I genuinely like feel like they need to know that or whatever. I just say it just because it's a meme.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I liked Mario plus Rabbids. For people out there, I'm not telling you,
dude.
I'm super dumb, but it's a great game. So what are you gonna do? But yeah, that's all the videos from your comment. So there it is.
Yes.
Now we got before Q&A, or after Q&A, I don't care.
I don't know,
PS5.
man. PS5.
Let's do comments first because we gotta represent. If you care about hearing our thoughts on PS5, stick around till after the Q&A.
Yeah,
but you guys ask questions. That would be rude to be like, forget you guys.
I mean, I would assume that the people that ask questions want to know what we think about PlayStation 5, but nonetheless.
True. But nonetheless, we're doing both. Here's Q&A first.
Yeah, there it is.
Twitter questions. Pat Green said, let's see, questions. Is Deal a real last name?
No, but it's his.
You're telling me. It's weird to me. Here's the thing. The number of times, maybe it's just where I lived in Virginia at the time, but the number of times that I would tell somebody my last name was Deal and they were like, Diehl? I'm like, like not at all. That's not the way that you spell that word. But I think there was just like, some family.
It's like, it can't be the word. That's not a real last name.
I mean, but like I knew a couple of people with the last name Deal spelled Diehl. So it's got to be one of those, like there was the Deal family in like the 1840s and they just kind of like, branched out.
Or like
or
an
something
immigration thing of them being like,
yeah,
I guess
like
this is how you spell that.
German family or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. But that was a weird time where I was like, why are you assuming the weird spelling?
There's like 30,000 different spellings in my last name, and I hate it because it's like I'll be like, "Oh, this is my name," and they're like, oh, "Okay, so MCCRAY," and I'm like, "No."
Oh my goodness.
And then they're like, "MCGR," and they're like, "No." I'm like, it's freaking. It's annoying, but
yep. This reminds me of a Brian Regan joke. That's all. Devilman's Crybaby, Chris the Butte, said, I know this would never happen, but it would be super cool if Nintendo gave us a Paper Luigi game about the adventure he tells you about in Thousand Year Door. What do y'all think? Or even that game from his perspective in a remaster for the Switch.
Yo,
tell me more.
Remastered Thousand Year Door and then make that like a Super Luigi Brothers sort of thing. Like they like make that additive content. That would be dope.
I mean, that's kind of the sort of way they did with the Mario and Luigi games, I guess, right? You know, is like add the extra like Bowser's Inside Story and whatever. So it would be out of realm of possibility if they did a remaster of it. Yeah,
that's what they should do. They should make it an additive thing. I don't know if it's enough to like make a full-on game.
Well, so what's? Tell me more. Do you remember it all? What the?
I don't remember exactly. I just remember Luigi being like, "Yo, this is what I was doing, dude," and it's like, okay, like, but I don't remember exactly what he was talking about. That would be super cool, especially if it was like, "This is what I was doing, dude," and then it's like. Gives you and
the
then
option.
You play it.
Do you want to?
Like, you want to play through with Luigi? No, it's like, hey, he like starts talking to you, and it's like, do you want to listen to this guy? And then you're like, no. And then like you don't play it, and then like not even make it a thing that's like this is playable or whatever. It's just like gives you the option to listen to him. And if you say no, you just don't know. And then the one guy that says yes the day that the game came out, he's like, oh shoot, and then that becomes like this discovered thing. It's like, oh,
I mean, that's the way kind of in Trials of Mana. Again, I only played the demo, but when you meet the other characters, because you have a team of 3, when you meet your other character, they're like, man, oh, I can't believe I ran into you here. My name's Bob or whatever. And then you have the option to either play through their first chapters up till that point, or you can just hear the kind of synopsis or whatever. And I feel like that's a fun little mechanic, you know?
Yeah, man.
Good ideas.
Good ideas.
That is all. Now some questions from Discord. Mega Man asks us, when will fanatixfour relocate to New Zealand?
When Nintendo relocates to New Zealand, or
when YouTube pays a lot more money.
Yeah, no, but like we gotta have a reason to like actually go there
because it seems awesome. Is that not a reason?
I mean, sure, but like we gotta have like a financial reason to go there.
Nah, imaginary reasons are good enough for me. Man, you know, who's to say? If you ever come over here, Mega Man, we'll have a reunion of some sort.
A first union. A union. Yeah.
Good question. Duncan says, assuming y'all saw the PS5 event, are there any games that stood out to you? Any favorites or games that have you considering picking up a system at launch? Also, Pat Green asked, will the PS5 include goggles? That thing looks sharp. Should we ask? Grimhane had a question that's Nintendo stuff. Should we do that real quick and then
let's
finish up with
first. Yeah.
So Duncan, we're coming back. Just hold on a minute, man. Goodness gracious.
Oh yeah, and then also Pokemon. How far?
I don't even remember what the Pokemon.
The Pokemon anime. Netflix.
Oh yeah. We'll do that right at the end. Grimane said, will Nintendo continue to play it close to the chest with 2020 releases? Putting out a direct is one thing. I don't care how they deliver the news to us. As it stands, we're under a week away from Paper Mario. It's a month and a week, but we love, under a week away from Paper Mario and Pokemon's DLC. That's true. And as far as I know, while we have things on the horizon, there are no dates associated with those titles. Yes, the world situation has changed things, but it'd be nice to get some news from them somehow, some way, however they choose to give it to us.
I think it's going to be close to the chest the whole time, unless by some chance, which I doubt, people are like, all right, world's good enough to just go about your business as you were, like I don't think that's going to happen in 2020. I think there's always going to be like throughout the rest of this year is going to be some level of restriction. To that point, I think Nintendo is going to act as if that's the case, where it's like, we don't know what's going to happen. So we're not going to make any promises unless we're absolutely certain that we can hit the date that we're telling you. Or absolutely certain that we can hit the date that internally we want to hit from when we announce the thing. Because Nintendo's not really the type of company to like just make an announcement for the sake of the hype. They want to make an announcement and then know like, okay, this is how long we have to keep this hype going.
I mean, and yeah, like the world is just weird right now. So like hype probably just is different in general.
Yes.
Where I think you need things a little bit more imminently to be hyped about, I guess. I don't know. But I could see them, just only wanting to announce something once they have a for sure date in the first place. Like, I mean, they announced the Paper Mario date right at the beginning. But also, if this year is the year of Mario, which seems to be, even though they haven't really said that, they kind of did some places, but
I mean, yeah, they kind of did
with the like collaborations and stuff, but they haven't like,
because there's like a lot of collaborations with Mario.
Yeah. So, but I suspect that probably a lot of those things are things that are just really easy sells. Like you're in or you're out. There's not a lot of thinking about it or whatever. So like if they do the Mario,
I want Mario jeans.
Yeah, right. They can just announce the things and then be out. So this is an easy year for them to be able to play stuff close to their chest because they don't have to sell you on an astral chain or something like that, where it's like, it's going to take a while for you to really get what this thing is from the get-go.
But now it's like, it's Mario. Either you buy it or you don't.
So it does. Yeah. I mean, on one hand, it kind of sucks a little bit, but on the other side, it's like, we just learned about Paper Mario and that's a month away.
And I'm still playing Smash Bros. So I really don't care.
Yeah.
For being real.
So I don't know. There's that. But yeah, going back to Duncan's question now. PS5, man. Here we go.
Yeah, dude. So I streamed this with Bob and Dan and Greg. I don't know if you met Greg, but
I don't think I did meet Greg.
Greg's a character, as are all of Bob's friends. But yeah, so we streamed it, and the first half, because you said you saw the first half. Maybe even a little bit over the first half, with the exception of like the established IP, every single trailer that they showed had something that was freaking hideous. And I don't mean like hideous on a technical level, but I mean like a creature that like I would see in my nightmares. So that was like a thread that was going throughout, like the freaking bug snacks. Like, what is that, dude? Like, what's going on, man? Like,
snacks.
You need help. Whoever made that game. There's a game called Bug Snacks.
Okay. And I must have dropped off at that point.
So they're bugs and they're snacks, technically. So it started out and it was like a strawberry, and the strawberry turned into a bug, and then the freaking, I don't know, like the otter looking man, he ate it, and then his arm turned into like a strawberry caterpillar bug kind of thing.
I don't know that I'm down with that.
Yep. And then there was a song where a lady was like, ooh, bug snacks. That was the song.
Seems like honestly a weird PlayStation.
Game is a freaking fever dream. And then there was another game that was like Little Devil Inside or something like that. It was another game that was a fever dream. I feel like every game that's not from an established IP, I was like, okay, this exists, I guess. But I saw Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I was like, I'm down. And then there was confusion after that, where it's like, it's not really a game, and then they're like, wait, but it is a game, but it's like not really a game. That kind of made me mad, but I'm still down.
It sounds like the most recent news is that it's like a Lost Legacy,
it's an Uncharted Lost Legacy thing, which is still dumb. Like, it's still very much so like DLC, but like DLC that they want to charge you $50, $60 for, or maybe $40, maybe, you know. Where it's like it's a full game in name, but not really.
Because I mean, especially
it would be kind of like selling you Super Luigi U as a game,
because you could you could beat like platinum Spider-Man in what, like 25 hours or something like that.
Something like that.
So I mean, if that's
imagine
the case,
that being cut in half.
That seems, I don't know, whatever. I mean, people love Spider-Man, so, you know, and people love Spider-Man in general. So
I too. That was the one game I played on my PlayStation that year. Well, not true. I played freaking poker in Red Dead Redemption for like 2 hours.
So there was that. What'd you think about the Horizon Forbidden West stuff?
It's cool. I'm mad they didn't call it Horizon the 1 noon or whatever. I'm also like, I would be shocked if this game, like if it ends up coming out, it's a Breath of the Wild clone at this point. Like it's like there's so many like motifs in that trailer that's like, hey, we're doing the Breath of the Wild thing, dude. She's climbing, and then like they like tried to one up the.
Oh yeah, she couldn't climb in the original.
Yeah,
right?
no, it was like traditional like action adventure game traversal where it's like there's mountains and stuff, but like you're not climbing the mountain, you're jumping up the mountain, and then there's like parts where there's like very defined paths where it's like you got to grab the pegs, like that sort of thing, but it's not like Breath of the Wild climbing.
All right.
But in this, they did that. It looks like it's just Breath of the Wild in terms of the climbing thing. I
loved in part of the trailer they were like, explore, blah, vastless, whatever, go anywhere or something, and it showed like just a bunch of boulders, like probably like 10 feet high of just some boulders, which like I, as a regular person, would be like, I could climb those boulders. Yeah, totally. And so it's funny. We're like, explore, like
climb anywhere.
You can. But it's funny because in video games, that's like, well, can't go there. That sucks. People showed in Resident Evil set.
It's like the Pokemon thing in the old Pokemon games where it's like, there's this small ledge and I'm on the other side of the ledge. I guess I can't. Or like cutting down a tree. I guess I can't go. That's a big tree, dude. I can't. I don't have any upper body strength to be able to like, hoist myself up there. I can't go around the tree. I can't go over the tree. The tree's just there and I can't do anything about it. I'm sorry. But yeah, like that's how the game was. But they also tried to be like, hey, we're kind of better because there's water and you can go underwater. Like that's our innovation here. So that is something I really hope Breath of the Wild 2 has underwater exploration, because like, which would be like, they would be like, they would be banging their head up against the wall if that was the case, where it's like, this was our end to be better. Yeah, but I mean, it looks good. I mean, it looks beautiful. Obviously, a lot of these games look really good. I mean, it's like that's the other part of it. I'm still not sold on that. Like, I'm going to get it because it's the box where the new games are, and that's literally all I need. But I still haven't seen a game that's like, man, this is the generational leap they've been talking about. I think the only one that was like that, honestly, was Ratchet and Clank, because of the like, like no load times between of it, and like how everything, but like even that stuff where like technology probably couldn't do exactly that as fast. If somebody showed me that and it just was like, here's this game, I wouldn't immediately go to like, oh, that's a PlayStation 5 game. I wouldn't think it was a PlayStation 4 game, but I would be like, oh, that's probably like a PC game. Like I wouldn't think like this is like unprecedented technology that we've never seen before. I mean, that said, like that's kind of the problem too, is all things considered, isn't the PS5 and Xbox Series X, they're pretty much on par with like the strongest PCs that we have now anyway. So like, I don't know that there's anything that can blow us away, because and that's fine. I'm okay with that, on like, just because like I said, like it being the new box where the new games are is enough for me. But what I don't like is the disconnect between how they advertise their consoles and what their consoles actually are. They're like, this is the biggest deal in gaming and it's the biggest leap ever, like they don't even try to like, like temper themselves a little bit and say, and this would be a blatant lie, but if they were like, this is the biggest leap since 2D to 3D, like this is the next N64 era, like that sort of thing, like even that would be a blatant lie. But at least they're like being somewhat realistic, where it's like, it's not like this is the best thing you've ever seen. I mean, sure, maybe like like cumulatively, yes, definitely, it definitely looks better than N64. But as far as like relatively, no. Not even close. Like I don't even know if this is like a bigger leap than like PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4. I did think it was interesting. Like the same level of jump. I'd imagine so. The starting with GTA 5 was a really random. I still don't. I've seen some people give explanations for why that was a thing, but I still don't really get it. Like that was just weird, It was a bad call. That should have been sandwiched in between all the other announcements, and it shouldn't have just been Grand Theft Auto 5. It should have been, here's Grand Theft Auto 5 and whatever other games that we're like enhancing for PlayStation 5. Totally. Because as a standalone announcement, it's like, okay, I don't care. I mean, it seems like, because what was the thing? What
what were they announcing? If you got
it was like it's like free.
If you pre-order a PS5, you get $1 million.
Yeah,
is it pre-order? I don't remember what if you do such and such, but you get $1 million, GTA bucks a month or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really just like, hey, before we sell you on the next thing, let's try to sell you on something that's like make money right now. You know? Which makes sense that they would do that, but it's just weird to kind of start out with it.
Yeah. But that aside, like I said, I'm buying a PlayStation 5. Oh, visually, do you care? Because I don't. About what the PlayStation 5 looks like. I don't care.
Oh, the box itself?
Yeah.
It's really tall. That's the only thing that
gigantic.
I'm like, that might be a bit too tall.
But like, as far as like aesthetics go, like, it looks
like a router.
It does.
I will also say that.
It does, but I do not care even a little bit what the box looks like. I don't care because I see people comparing it to Xbox Series S and X, whichever one they like more. I don't really care. They're both freaking plastic boxes. I'm never going to look at them. Like, I'm looking at the TV. I don't care what the box looks like. Maybe if it was a handheld, I would care what it looks like because I'm literally holding it freaking a foot away from my face. But for a box that's going to sit in my entertainment center or on my desk or whatever, I don't care what it looks like. Like, so I don't even know why they hyped that up. And it was like this whole thing where they were like teasing it the whole entire presentation. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I mean, all things considered, I don't know if I'm going to, I don't think I'm going to get a PS5 or Xbox Series X just, because it's me. And that's who I am. Yeah. Again, I think I said this before, that Ashley and I are thinking about getting an Xbox One X, perhaps.
I remember
Did I talk about that?
You said something about maybe getting whatever lock card ends up being.
Okay, so more recently than that, we were in our bedroom and like, oh man, it would be great to play some of our DVDs. We've got this DVD player that's in here, but it really sucks. It's like a really bad DVD player. And the 2 DVD players we even have in that or the living room, we just never really use them.
I've seen a standalone DVD player in 20 years.
And they are old by DVD player standards. So they don't even upscale to anything. They're just like, it's not HDMI, it's RCA cables. And they like, even on like when something's widescreen, it's like, if this is our TV screen size, the aspect ratio is still 16:9, but it's smaller than the TV. And so it's bad. Like, it looks awful. So we were like, we should probably get a Blu-ray player. And I was like, if we're getting a Blu-ray player, maybe we should just go ahead. And I was like, it feels dumb at this point to be like, we'll get Xbox, like the, Xbox One original. Cause that doesn't play well. It plays Blu-rays. It doesn't play 4K.
It doesn't play. So right.
It was so like, okay, well, we won't get that. Xbox Series One S. Might as well get the X. So
you just mix.
So we haven't, but like in the back of my mind, if if one goes on sale and we have extra money, which I don't think that's going to happen unless we get more stimulus checks, which I don't think that's going to happen. But if we do, then we'll probably get an Xbox One X, because also that's the one that's going to have. It seems like it's going to be more cross-gen friendly or whatever, where if something comes out next year, I'll still be able to.
Yeah, they already committed to that.
Yeah. The only thing, I think in general, right now PlayStation just has better exclusives for sure.
Granted, we don't know what the Xbox are until July, so
we'll have to wait on that. And like some of the ones that we've seen for next gen exclusives, like that we saw at, I guess, E3 last year, there was one Everwild, I think, that looked really cool. It was like some fancy deer avatar looking things. So I'm not going to get a PS5, partly because how much do you think it's going to cost?
It's going to be at least $600. I would be shocked if it was under $600.
At least $600. Yeah. I think 600 probably. Maybe it or the Series X can somehow do 500, but
I think the thing about Series X that might give it a boost is that Game Pass is there.
Yeah.
So the buy-in is a lot lower. So it's like, even for you guys, right? Xbox has the program where now you can get an Xbox for like a subscription,
like $20 a month for
it's
2
like
years.
Yeah, and then
which I've thought about that too.
and then that also comes with Game Pass and Xbox Live and all that stuff.
Yep.
You could literally just have that and have everything you need. You get to play every single exclusive that they release for
and
the price.
So many third parties,
the console that you're buying or whatever, right? Whereas with PlayStation, you're committing to spending the $600.
Yep.
Or less if there's a miracle, $600 or whatever, right? And then you got to pay $60 question mark, possibly more, for whatever game comes out. Like that's a
yeah. That's a price to swallow for sure. And I think the thing too that I think has soured me on PlayStation in general is just like the past couple years of like when Xbox was being really prosumer and that kind of stuff.
That's
like
why, honestly, that's why I don't like blatantly. Like I will buy a PlayStation, but PlayStation, like as a company, I do not like them.
Yeah,
because like they do this. They have done this since PlayStation has existed. They always go through this like cycle of like we're about the gamers and we love you guys because you hate us right now or don't trust us or whatever, right? And then they gain trust, and then they're like, all right, we have trust. We can
spend that trust,
mortgage your house, buy a PlayStation 3, you know, like, and like they always teeter back to that point. And I don't feel like they're as bad as the PlayStation 3 era, but I think they're getting there. They're getting there. And I don't like that. So like that's the thing that turns me off about PlayStation. I think Xbox to some point, especially after Phil Spencer took over, they like go above and beyond to be about the consumer to the point where it's like, even if like to the layman, it seems like they're hurting themselves to help the consumer.
Yeah, I mean, the Game Pass kind of stuff would seem like that. You know?
Exactly. Like we don't care if you buy an Xbox. We just want you to buy our games. That's it. Play it on your PC. Play it on your Switch. Play it on your old Xbox. Play it on the new Xbox. We don't care. Just play it. You know, like PlayStation wouldn't do that, and they're not doing that. They're like, we don't want to put Spider-Man.
I mean, and the only reason they're putting stuff on PC, like the reason they're putting, you know, like Horizon Zero Dawn on PC, isn't because they are like, oh, you know, like we should let the PC players get to play it. It's, I mean, it's a little bit that, but it's more like nobody else is going to buy it on PlayStation 4 now anymore. Yeah. Who could still buy it? Maybe some PC players, you know,
also,
like,
it's a thing of like,
which I mean, makes sense.
You know, like Horizon 2 Dusk is coming out and they're like, man, Alloy is going to be on people's minds. So, and they don't have a PlayStation 5. They'll play on PC, and that'll make them want to. It's Nintendo's early mobile game strategy.
Yeah, right. So, Yep. So, I mean, and it's just business. Like, it's fine. But, like, in general, I don't know that I can – right now, it doesn't seem like I can trust them in the long run to do things that ultimately are just going to save me money. You know, whereas, like, I feel like right now with Xbox, like, that's going to be – it's the lowest investment to be able to get the best, you know, buyback or whatever, as far as that goes.
The best ROI.
Freaking
the Pokemon on Netflix. I watched. There's like the first 12 episodes. I watched like the.
Already? I thought. Oh, that's today. Yeah. I
watched like the first 4. The first episode is interesting. Pikachu had a tragic backstory, dude. Who knew? Who knew, man? Who knew? I was like, dang, dude. No wonder why Pikachu was a jerk when you first met.
So. I mean, I guess I haven't watched any of it. When does it just recap the first episode?
No, I mean, yes and no. So it's a flashback to when freaking Ash is a kid.
Like the Spearow situation. Okay, no. Okay. Before that.
Ash is a kid and Go is a kid who's the new kid. He's the new guy, man. And it's like, you know, not really retroactively putting him in the story, but kind of. He's from Viridian City, or not Viridian, Viridian City. He's from there. And he was a child, and he's going to his professorial camp, and Ash also wants to go to this camp, but he sleeps in. That's how he doesn't know him yet. But like the story, they want us to know, like this kid, he was part of this.
He would have been around the whole time.
Yeah, he's a freaking Kanto president or whatever, right? And then also it like shifts between them as kids and Pikachu as a Pichu, and Pichu is like all alone, and Pichu, like other Pokemon are not. There's Nidorans that are, they're all freaking booed up, dude, as the kids say. And there's other people, and then he meets a Kangaskhan and things ensue. I don't want to spoil.
Okay.
Tragic backstory, and then like the solution to like him being sad and alone or whatever, or like what happens after the mini solution, character stuff.
Yeah,
the solution that was the solution in the beginning turns out it wasn't the ultimate one, but the ultimate solution is very stupid. Like I don't know how what happened and solved his problem, but it did. I don't know if he was like, okay, that's fine, I'm good with this, I'm gonna live my life, but it did. And kind of like if you like, okay, so when you get,
I'll have to watch it to be able to.
Yeah,
because like right now, this all sounds really vague, and I'm like, okay.
good, because I don't want to spoil it. Yeah. But like when you get to it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It kind of does. It's like it does the opposite of what you would think he wants to happen. His solution. Yeah. It's like because the problem happens, and then he's like, oh man, I gotta like change my place in this world, and then he goes to do that, and then something else happens, and then it makes the problem that made him want to change his place in the world worse. And that was it's like that's the happy ending. I'm like, oh,
interesting.
All right, but then he meets Ash, and then like there it is.
Yeah. Overall, just as far as like TV shows and enjoying, watching stuff or whatever, like how do you feel about it? Just as far as like it's quality and all that, like it's better than like, Sun and Moon, whatever. I mean, same as
I think Sun and Moon, like towards the end, like the later years of Pokemon, like the beginning of Pokemon, it's like it's Pokemon, but it's dumb, like, TV. And then like X and Y, I think is like legitimately like at least on par with like a lot of like like generic shonen anime sort of thing, where it's like it's good in that regard. I think this kind of follows that. Sun and Moon kind of took a left turn where it's like it's not shonen anime, it's like slice of life anime, but it's on par with a lot of those. This is kind of like a mixture of those two.
Gotcha.
I would say, but it's decent. If you like Pokemon, you'll probably like it.
Well, cool. I'll watch it. I've been watching through Sun and Moon a little bit, so I'll watch through this now. It's always nice to have something lighthearted too, just like be able to put in the background. Or,
but man, you got to pay attention to Pikachu's tragic backstory. Dude.
Oh, I will. And the things that happen, and then the other things that happen happen.
Yes,
those things that are like, whoa, what?
It'll all make sense. It'll all make sense, dude. I'm telling you. Just
it's crazy. Yeah,
it all makes sense.
It'll all make sense. It'll make sense that we did a podcast episode number 117, and it'll make sense that you subscribed and followed fanatixfour in all the places that you can do that.
Yes, exactly. Especially if you're here, dude. Like you're still here. If you're still here and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? I do want to.
I always forget. I meant to ask at the way beginning of the podcast episode, and I just forgot. I mean, we can always. I don't feel like editing it. But I'm really curious, like we get, probably as however many number of listens to the podcast specifically, but we only really have probably, 20-ish people that like, I know, like that's the person, like
they definitely listen to the podcast and they ask questions, Brad,
and Duncan. Yeah, exactly. Like there's, some number of those people. So that means theoretically there's
more people that just don't comment.
And so I'm very curious. Like I would love for, if you're one of those people, just to comment and be like, yeah, I guess I listen or whatever.
Hello, I lurk, ! Lurk or whatever.
Because that's just interesting to me. So that's all. But probably, I mean, maybe there's no overlap there that's still listening at this point. At the beginning of the podcast, probably. But at this point, probably not.
Right.
Nevertheless, thanks Duncan, thanks Grimhain, thanks Bianca, all for listening, and and those of you who are still listening at this point. That's it for the podcast, y'all.
That's it. Bye.
Bye.